Bryan Colangelo, we welcome you first to Philadelphia and to 97.3.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to getting to know everybody in the marketplace and trying to put that winner on the floor for everybody.
Well, obviously, I'm sure you're aware the move was made, and it had very mixed reviews. Are you surprised? I'm always interested to get in the heads of you guys. This is a team that won 47 games in 3 seasons, which sounds ridiculous, and yet there was a lot of mixed reviews on making a change at that position.
Well, listen, I can't quite comment on everything that happened over the 3 years, nor do I want to look back. I really want to look forward and talk about where we are and where we can go. I think that the 3 years did serve a purpose. It was painful. It was tough to deal with. I think Sam and his staff did a really interesting, job of, putting some high-value trades together that put this franchise in a situation where there's a chance to go forward. I think it's the extreme nature that they did so that maybe created a polarization, if you will, that you're going to have some people that buy into it and believe in it and some people that did not buy into it or believe in it. Some of the moves that were made along the way, whether planned or not, have left, probably more questions than answers right now. So what we're trying to do is just, pick up the pieces from where we are. The good news is some of those pieces are, draft picks, cap flexibility, and other things. But just in terms of, everything going forward, this is just, it's really a change or a shift in mindset from, perhaps something that was, it's really sensitive, obviously, to talk about the whole concept of rebuilding. I call it measured steps that, put you in a better position to move forward. But I think there was just, in some people's mind, there was a frustration at this stage, 3 years into the program, that we still have not made any strides. So, or even worse than we were at the beginning. But I would argue that right now is kind of a jumping off point. We've got a lot of assets to put to use. We've got an ownership group that's committed to winning, a new facility on the horizon. There's just a lot of bright spots. And, when this change was made, I think the change was made more than anything to just bring in a little bit more basketball thinking to the process. It was not meant to remove Sam from his position. He was meant to be part of this, and he decided he did not want to be part of it. And I, can understand that. It was something that didn't sit well with him. And, you move on. But I think we've got really smart people in this organization. We may bring in some more people to reinforce the basketball concept even further. And there's just there's a lot of good things ahead. I hope people can have a little bit of patience, but we're taking steps now where we're turning that dial. We're turning the dial from losing to winning.
Well, Bryan, you mentioned a jumping off point, and that you're excited about things. What excites you the most about this offseason? Is it, wow, we got this Embiid that we've never seen before, and I've seen him around the facility, and that excites me the most, or I've got possibly 4 draft picks. What and I got a lot of cap space. What is the most exciting thing that you get to work with this offseason?
Well, going back to what I said, with respect to some of the pieces that we have, and you mentioned Embiid, he is an unknown right now, and I think you could say the same thing almost about Okafor and Nerlens Noel. There's 3 young pieces there, including some other young guys on the roster that, definitely have NBA talent, but it's underdeveloped NBA talent right now. Or for whatever reason, maybe it was an injury, maybe it was lack of compatibility. It all hasn't worked out, so favorably yet. But the real piece that everyone has no idea what to expect, including myself, is Embiid. Joel is a young talent. He was arguably the best talent in that draft. I think he slipped to 3rd, and they got a chance to pick him up. Look, this one is still unknown, but the anticipation of what he could do is certainly intriguing. But to have the ability to maybe, as you mentioned, have 4 draft picks, don't want to overstate that too much because right now we've definitely got our own pick. We may get the Laker pick, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a combination of, 1-5, 1-4, 2-4, 2-5. But it may just be one pick, not two picks in the top five. So that's the part that, leaves you a little bit of, hesitation about getting too excited. But if you can get those two pieces, boy, it would be terrific for us to move forward with that kind of speed. And then you look back at the bottom end of the first round, we've got 24 and 26. Unfortunately, when there was the tiebreaker with four teams, it could have been as high as 21 and as low as 24. We ended up with the 24th pick in that tiebreaker procedure. So,
well, hopefully that's the only bad luck you end up getting.
Yeah. They say that you got to be smart and lucky in this business. Well, it's true. Unfortunately, that's the case. But again, when you have multiple picks, now you can, do things creatively with that. Do we want to add four new young bodies to an already young team, or do we want to try to build a team, perhaps, again, designed to win basketball games that will have a better blend of veteran talent, possibly going out and doing something in free agency that brings in a good piece? The one thing I will tell you we're not going to do, we're not going to race forward to the middle ground. We're going to try to do it systematically, smart, and make good decisions that put us in a position to maintain flexibility for always being in a position to make the right move at the right time. And if that means constantly, year after year, having the ability for the next several years to have the ability to go out and get two max guys or possibly even three max guys. The cap is expected to jump a lot this year from almost $70 to almost $90 million. It could go up another 15 to 18 the following year. So really, again, maintaining the opportunity for us to be in a position, improve your story. Let's sell the concept that we are moving now in a forward direction and an upward direction, and then maybe bring home a couple of big pieces in free agency. We've got to create the story, write the story, and then act out the story before we can actually go get something. So you may see us do something a little bit short-term this year. You may see us do something. If we get that right piece, we'll add them this year and say, let's move on. We've already got one. But you've got to get those pieces while you can, and I think this opportunity is out there for us. It's just a matter of when we apply it.
Bryan Colangelo is with us. So do you think at this stage, I know 10 wins makes it sound ridiculous. So many people say, well, you got to win to attract free agents. But do you think that this is a place right now, just because of the assets and what you have, that people would be interested in?
Again, I don't think it's going to happen overnight, but we are in a position to make it happen very quickly if the right things fall in place for us. Let's say, you put the position out there or the possibility that we might get two top five picks. That's not going to make you better this year immediately. It's going to certainly raise the level of excitement and anticipation and hope for the future, but it's going to help us sell the story that, say, that following year, or maybe a veteran player with the right, credentials is there and available as a free agent and says, you know what? I want to be with that team when they break through, or I can be the right piece for that team now as they bring these young kids along. So it really all depends on the situation. The one thing that we are dealing with, though, is in almost the entire league. I think 20 teams roughly had at the end of the season potentially room for at least one max player. So there's going to be a lot of competition for all the same players. So this might not be the year that there's a huge breakthrough in free agency. But again, if you make strides, one thing that we can definitely put on the checklist is brand new practice facility, a new thought process, a turn toward winning, not the systematic or systemic losing that's been happening. What we're doing is we're changing the narrative, and I think between the narrative, some on-court performance, and also, some of the things that we have. Number one, a great sports city in Philadelphia, a new practice facility that is definitely a player amenity in a very competitive area of the business right now. We're going to have one of the best in the business. we're putting ourselves into a nice picture. We're painting a nice picture for a free agent. Now, it might not be this summer that the story is as strong as it needs to be, but as we build that story, the following year and subsequent years are going to be much more interesting to observe and watch.
Bryan, I don't know how much you got to see of this team, obviously late in the year, but Coach Brown has said many times, pretty candidly, that he at this moment he doesn't see Noel and Okafor. He's having trouble with it. Now you add Embiid, possibly Sarge if he ends up coming over. Is it a goal of yours to shop one of those guys around and see what's out there, and if there's something you don't like, try with those guys again? Or do you agree with Coach that is not a great pairing, or maybe trifecta or foursome?
Well, if you're looking purely at the numbers don't tell a good story as far as, the compatibility of parts. That's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed, and it's something that we need to explore. I would say at this point, we're open for business with respect to our entire roster because we are a team that won 10 games. I'm not focusing specifically on one particular position, but there's obviously a redundancy at that spot. We probably need to explore how we can get better across the board, though. And when I say that, I need to break into, the conversations with the 29 other teams and just talk roster with them about not only our situation and our players, but about, their players as well. I've got some guys that obviously, you want to target in free agency, but you also want to target guys in trade discussions. So it's not so much about me shopping anyone. I just want to find out what the value is of our entire roster and see where we can go with it. It is safe to say that the 15 guys that were there at the end of the year are probably not going to be the same 15 that suit up at the beginning of the year. Otherwise, I haven't done my job. But we're going to be open and look at everything, and I don't want to single out any one player, position, or possible trade.
He's Bryan Colangelo, the 76ers' new president of basketball operations, and of course the 76ers with a very intriguing and important offseason for the, as you mentioned, jumping off point for the last 3 years. Bryan, we are your affiliate down the shore here, so a lot of Sixers fans in the area, about 45 minutes from where you are right now. And we do look forward to the offseason and hopefully catching up with you after the draft.
Anytime. I look forward to it. And, again, we're going to try to put something together that all Philadelphia fans can be proud of.
Thanks, Bryan.
Okay, thank you.